Hi, so winter is almost upon us. Yes, CAT 2022 is just round the corner. Keeping this in mind, we know each and every one of you is really excited but is also looking for the last final push and the fillip that is going to add those extra 5, 10, 15 percentile to your final CAT score. Well, because of this, BYJU'S exam prep brings to you the last lap to CAT 2022 starting on the 17th of October all the way till the 20th of November. Yes, 4.5 intensive, in fact almost 5 intensive weeks of preparation. What more, the focus is predominantly going to be CAT, which means, as we know, time, speed, distance and time and work in totality have almost equal weightage or sometimes even more weightage than geometry. So can we go ahead and leave geometry and just focus on these two? Can we go ahead and leave entire theta para jumbles and still score a 99.99 percentile in verbal? Yes, we can. This and much more in terms of preparation, in terms of intensive questions that we're going to look at and the smartest way of going ahead and solving that. So catch us on the BYJU'S exam prep app, and in case you missed that, on YouTube. But go ahead, download the BYJU'S exam prep app and also get a 99 percentiles kit which is going to help you ace CAT 2022. See you soon.
Good noon, a very good noon to all of you. I am Nikita. I welcome you to this session, Snap Verbal Reasoning. We'll talk about the verbal portion of the logical reasoning section of Snap, right? That's on the agenda for today. A very good noon, Varun, Apurva. How are you guys? I am good. Good to see you too, Varun. Right, so let's talk about Snap's verbal reasoning section. Let's first see what all comes in the exam, right? Very important to establish that. So we are going to look at the types of questions that are asked in Snap logical reasoning, right? Particularly the verbal part, not the analytical part, right? Then we'll learn the approach to solve these questions. And lastly, of course, we are going to solve some questions. That's how we learn the approach. Okay, so this is your logical reasoning section of slot 3 of Snap 2021. So this shows you what all exactly came in the exam, right? I got a 600 to 800 word passage. That's what Apurva is saying. How to deal with them in a short time. Okay, so Apurva, good question. See, for the last 2 years in general English, so Snap calls it in its English section general English, a passage has not appeared. However, if it does appear in the exam, right, first of all, keep it for the end, meaning that you first attempt your, so we are talking about general English now because Apurva has asked a query, right? So in general English, as I told you, for the last 2 years, no RC passage has appeared. In case it appears, then you first attempt your vocabulary and grammar questions, right? Because these are short, these are time saving. So you first go for these questions and then you go for your RC passage. Now, because it's a 600 to 800 word RC passage, you need not read through the entire passage. Just skim through it. Okay, how do we skim through something? We read the opening paragraph. Okay, I'm writing here just so you know, you are able to read. Wait, let me write here. Read the opening paragraph carefully because that helps you to dive into the passage. Even if it does not contain the main idea, it will help you to gauge what the passage roughly is about, right? At least that idea it will give you. Then the opening sentences of all paras. Opening sentences of all paras. Read these. Okay. Then when you come to the questions, you can even decide to read the question stems first. You can even decide to read the question stems first. Okay. And then skim through the passage. Or you can first skim through the passage and then you decide to read the question stems. Okay. So when you read the question stem, you let's say read about knowledge and that is mentioned in the question stem and you realize that, okay, I read it somewhere in para 2, in the opening sentence of para 2, something regarding knowledge was mentioned. So you just hunt the answer. So look for direct questions out of the lot that is given to you. Okay, if you skim through, you get a rough idea, at least some rough idea about every paragraph. So then you know where to hunt for the answers for your direct questions. This is how you have to tackle it. You need not read the entire 600 to 800 word RC passage. Okay. Hope this helps. All right. Okay. Good afternoon, Disha. Varun, I'll have to check the cutoffs and everything. Then only I'll be able to comment on this. Okay. Snap official mock pattern and the exam pattern the same. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, they are official mocks, no? So it's going to be similar, not exactly the same. So probably if they've given one cause effect question, let's say in the logical reasoning section, it's possible that two of them come in the actual exam, but it's going to be similar because it's an official mock, right? Hello, hello, hi, Amrit, Jaydev. Good afternoon, good afternoon. All right. Hello, Pragya. So, this is the verbal part of your logical reasoning section. There is also an analytical part which talks about coding, decoding, blood relations, all those things. I'm focusing on the verbal part. So, last year you got statement conclusion questions, statement assumption questions, course of action, cause effect, strictly what we call critical reasoning, as in an argument is given to you, you have to infer something, you have to assume, basically you have to identify the author's assumptions, you have to strengthen, weaken. That was just one question. Okay, strong weak argument one, and logical sequence, very easy. A series of words is given to you, you have to arrange them in a logical sequence based on some rationale. So 10 questions from verbal reasoning were asked last year, right? So what we are going to do today is we are going to practice each of these question types, and we are going to cover the main types of questions of critical reasoning. That's on the agenda for today. Okay. All right then. Let's have a look. Is there a dedicated video series on BYJU'S course? I didn't get you. Which particular course are we talking about? Okay, so coming to statement conclusion questions, a conclusion must be true on the basis of the statement. That's, I see, what I've done today is I've written the most essential checks that you need to apply. Of course, a conclusion must be related to the statement, but that's something that all of you know. So I haven't really written it here, right? It has to be related. It can't go beyond. All these things you already know. So just apply this crucial check that it is true on the basis of the statement, and you are sorted. This is the most crucial check out there. So with this knowledge, let's have a look at a question here. It's one of my favorite questions. Okay, you may have seen it in some other session. So tell me, this is the statement given to you. Two conclusions after it are given. Which ones follow logically? Yes. Shivam, not right now. When we come near Snap, then we'll have a dedicated video series. But we have conducted a lot of sessions on Snap already, right? So if you go to our videos, you will find Snap related videos there. Right? I myself have conducted some sessions where I talked about general English earlier. So you can find such sessions. All right. Varun says A. Jaydev says E. Dhanush says D. So I've deliberately included an option E here. In Snap, you get 4 options only, right? I have included an option E here. I'll tell you the reason. Okay, A, E, D. All right. What else? B. Okay, so A, B, D, E. Everything except C I've got. All right. Okay. Others, come on, come on. So, Rahul won the Player of the Match award in the T20 tournament, right? Conclusion 1 says Rahul is a talented and hard-working player. Can we conclude this based on this statement? Is it something that is true based on the statement? Does the statement talk about Rahul's talent and hard work, or does it simply say that he won an award? It simply says that he won an award. How he won it, what are his traits, I can't conclude anything about it. So 1 does not follow. Now, sorry, this one. Conclusion 2. Rahul scored the highest number of runs. So this is where a lot of cricket fans also make a mistake. See, a player of the match could be a bowler also, no? It doesn't always have to be a batter. So how can I conclude this that he scored, and moreover, how can I conclude this that he scored the highest number of runs in any case, right? First of all, nothing about runs, nothing about the number can be concluded, right? So conclusion 2 also does not follow, and the answer is neither follows. When do we say either one or two? Whenever in any question, and I'm saying any question, you have this option either one or two, right? It usually comes with two statements, such kind of an option, right? What it means is that individually they don't follow. Individually, these conclusions don't follow. But in case one is not the case, then two is definitely the case. In case he is not talented and hardworking, then definitely he scored the highest number of runs. And in case he did not score the highest number of runs, then definitely he is talented and hardworking. So these are mutually exclusive and exhaustive scenarios if I go by set theory, right? But here you don't see that they are mutually exclusive and exhaustive, right? They're talking about two very different things. So this is not the answer here, right? D, Delhi is the answer. So I just wanted to explain to you the concept of either. That's why I included this. Okay. I hope this is clear to everyone. 2 also does not follow. No, Pragya, logically one does not follow because we do not know. It could be a sheer luck, right? It could be sheer luck today. We don't know whether he is indeed talented or not, whether he is indeed hardworking or not, right? Maybe the other team was really bad today, right? So, or perhaps throughout the tournament, yes, his luck played. If it's the entire tournament, if it's a series of matches, right? So, his luck could have played a role. The other teams could have been ill prepared. We can't conclude this, right? Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is see statement, conclusion, statement, assumption. These are not some separate question types from critical reasoning. Critical reasoning just takes these concepts forward and applies these concepts to an entire argument. That's how it differs from these other miscellaneous questions, right? So, what we are going to do now is we are going to look at a full-fledged argument and we are going to conclude something from it, right? So, instead of statement conclusion, it's argument conclusion now. So first we need to understand what an argument is. Yes, those of you who have attended my critical reasoning sessions, they would know what an argument is. I have talked about it. Yes. Is it a debate? Is it a fight between two people? In the world of logic? No, right? It is simply a person's viewpoint. Okay. The viewpoint is called conclusion. In the world of logic, it's simply a person's viewpoint that is formed on the basis of one or more reasons. Formed on the basis of one or more reasons. These reasons in logic are called premises. So a conclusion, right, formed on the basis, a conclusion formed on the basis of one or more premises. Single premise, plural premises. Okay, then what is this in between? When we state our viewpoint, when we state our viewpoint to our listeners, to our readers, a lot of times we do not spell out each and everything. There are certain things that we take for granted. We suppose that our reader will understand them. But these things, these statements, these are very necessary for me as an author, as a speaker, to be able to arrive at a conclusion from the premise. So, these hidden premises, you can simply look at them as hidden reasons, hidden premises. Those that have not been explicitly stated but are very necessary to arrive at the conclusion. These are called the arguer's assumptions. Arguer के assumption, आपके assumption नहीं है. You are the reader. They are not your assumptions. They are the assumptions of the arguer. Right? So if you understand this, this basic equation of sorts, you will find it very easy to attempt conclusion questions, assumption questions, strengthening and weakening questions. Basically, the basics of critical reasoning. Right? Okay, good, Ashwini. Good, good, good. Right. So, now, let's have a look at a question. Okay, sorry. Before I come to the question, some tips for you. Although I have told you that a conclusion is something that must be true on the basis of the text, the information given to you. Some other tips: eliminate Always go by elimination in these questions, because the best answer choice in the world, the best of all the choices in the world, that may not be present. So always eliminate when you attempt conclusion questions, inference questions, just like your RC questions, right? Don't fall into these traps, something that I've already told you regarding RC passages, reading comprehension passages. A conclusion can't become broader than the statement itself. It can't contain additional information that's not there in the statement at all. It can't be incomplete in the sense that it's very narrow. It's just focused on, let's say, one aspect of the of a, let's say, an argument. This is the whole argument. It is focused on just one aspect, and that too, that aspect has also not been covered in totality. It's missing something. So it basically, when I say incomplete, I mean that it is missing critical information, right? It can't be extreme, right? If my it can't have superlatives unnecessarily. If my argument says big, my conclusion can't say biggest, right? Okay, and this is something that will hold true when we have such peripheral options as the answer, okay, that do not really address the text, basically not completely related to the text, not completely related to the information. So in sometimes they'll go beyond, sometimes they'll go beyond the text, okay, sometimes they'll be distorted, sometimes again they'll be missing something, sometimes they'll contain additional information. So I think this pretty much covers all the other options, right? So you just focus on these and you're sorted. Okay, coming to question 2, and I'm going to go invisible, right, so that you can read it carefully. So this is your argument here. Okay, and now the question asks you, which of the following conclusions can be drawn from the above? Always read the question stem carefully. You should know what it is asking of you. A lot of times, in fact, I do it most of the time, that I read the question stem first and then I read the text, because then I read it with that angle that, okay, this is what I have to do, right? So just going invisible, and then you have to attempt this question. Amrit, a little similar, right? But we are not really going to address facts and judgments today, right? We are talking about an inference, but I think just watch the initial few minutes of the session. That's where I cover the concepts, okay? And I think once you understand the concepts, it's not a very difficult topic. Read the argument and tell me the answer. Okay. Lead code daily. No questions related to the topic are silly, and nobody who asks them is an idiot. Always remember that. Four options are given to you. Okay. I've got 3 responses. I need more. Today's session will be slightly longer, okay? Slightly longer, because we are trying to cover quite a few concepts. And I am saying it to you. Trump, that's a universal problem. That is why there is a time constraint. See, your examiners also understand that if they do not place a time constraint, then you will be able to, in fact, achieve 100% accuracy in a lot of cases. That is why the time constraint is there. Because, see, all your management tests, they are designed to test your managerial skills. So, they are testing your time management skills essentially. Okay, so practice more and more within the time constraint now. What that means is accuracy is not a problem for you. Comprehension is not a problem for you as such. Right? Comprehension आपका problem नहीं है, आपको समझ में आ रहा है. Practice करो time constraint में. Okay? Yes, I will be taking Snap. I don't remember the slot though. But yes, I'll also be taking it. Okay. So, a study published in 2006, okay, it says something about tax morality, right? I'm sure you've read the argument well. Now, let me address the argument through the options. 2/3 of the Germans evade tax and consider it only a trivial offense. Is it given that they evade tax? My argument says, according to the study, 2/3 of the Germans surveyed regarded tax evasion as a trivial offense. Okay. If I regard pickpocketing as a trivial offense, does that mean that I steal money from people? I pickpockets? No, right? So this is extreme. So one is eliminated right away, and that helps us to eliminate two options. So see, I don't even need to check 2 now. I just need to check 4. 4 says, Indians regard tax evasion, especially holding illicit money abroad, as a serious crime. But is that given in the argument? It says Indian tax morality is similar. Just like Germans, 2/3 of the Germans, they regarded tax evasion as a minor offense. Indian tax morality is also similar. But India's tax morality makes an important distinction. If it's expat illicit money, if it's expatriate illicit money, people holding illicit money in foreign bank accounts, that is viewed as a serious crime. But if it is money held in India, within India, that is perceived as a practical measure. Right? So there is a distinction there. There's some hypocrisy there. Right? So it's not that India regards tax evasion as a whole a serious crime. So 4th is again not the answer. Only 3. C is the answer here. Right? So let's have a look at how many of you marked C. Just a second. Okay, everybody said D. Why 4th? India does not regard tax evasion as a whole as a serious crime. Okay, India's tax morality is similar to that of Germans, where majority regards it as a trivial offense. Only 3. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I hope it makes sense to you. Hanji, I hope this is clear to everybody. Okay. Also, in case you were confused, so nobody was confused with second, right? Good, good. Nobody was confused with second. This could be eliminated easily, right? 3 is fine. As long as the money is held in India, illicit money is accepted as practical by Indians. Yes, this is something that I can infer very easily from the last sentence, that money held within India is perceived as a practical measure. कि वो तो practical चीज है, उतना evasion तो practical चीज है, right? So 3 is the answer. Okay. Now, coming to our next question type, which is statement assumption. A statement will be given to you. Then multiple other statements are given and it's written assumption 1, assumption 2. You are asked which of the following assumptions is implicit in the statement. Okay. So what exactly is an assumption? We just discussed in the context of an argument. Let's say we do not have a whole argument. We just have one statement. Then the assumption within that statement is something that is necessary for the statement to hold true. That means without that statement, without ये वाला assumption, मेरा statement hold नहीं करेगा true. Right? So for instance, I think I gave this example yesterday or day before yesterday only, that if I say, this is the best book that I have read on this topic. This is the best book that I have read on this topic. Okay, that means what is implicit in this statement? That I have read other books on this topic, yes? There are other books on this topic. This is also implicit as an assumption. So, there are other books on this topic. That is something that is implicit within this statement. I have read other books on this topic. That is also something that is implicit within this statement. Because without that, I cannot make such a statement that this is the best book that I have read on this topic. Okay? All right. So I hope this makes sense to you. And a very easy check that you can apply when attempting statement assumption questions is the moment you state the opposite of the assumptions. For instance, if I say there are no other books on this topic. So I stated the opposite of the assumption. There are no other books on this topic. The moment we say that, my statement stops making sense. Then can I say this? The statement stops making sense. So the moment you state the opposite of an assumption, the statement will stop making sense. Okay. So look at this question here and tell me which one is implicit. Sometimes your examiners write follow. So that's why I have also stuck to follow. But implicit is actually logically the right word. Only 1 and 3 are implicit. 2 is implicit. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. No, bachche, not at all, Varun. No impact on your final score, and as in Snap is not really counting that score. Okay. All right. E, A. Okay. All right. So I've got one E and the others say A. Quite a few A's. Happy to see that. That is the answer. See, when a person, so always see the assumptions from the point of view of the speaker of the statement, the person who's made the statement. So a person who says one should buy a packet of bread only after checking the expiry date on it is clearly giving a piece of advice to you, right? So, of course, this person has assumed this, that an expiry date is mentioned. That is why he or she is talking about checking the date. Yes. Second, if this person thinks this, that people may not check the expiry date, will he or she offer this advice? If you already think this, see, this is something that's happening in your mind before making the statement, right? In assumptions, you actually enter the mind of the speaker. So if the speaker already thinks this, that people may not check the expiry date, will he or she waste his or her time in giving the advice? No. The assumption is always that people will listen to your advice. Okay, so eliminated. 3. People understand the implication of an expiry date. Absolutely. If I as a speaker do not think this, मुझे ऐसा लगता है people do not understand the implication of an expiry date, then will I advise people to actually check it? Because then what will happen even after checking it? It will not be of much use. So yes, it's a very crucial assumption that the speaker has made, that people understand what an expiry date means, right? So 1 and 3 are implicit. A is the answer. Yes, 3 is correct. Okay. Both means, oh, okay, this shouldn't have been both, all follow. This should have been all follow. Okay. This is a mistake. All follow. All right. Hope this is clear. So now let's take this concept of statement assumption to an argument. Now let's take expand this concept to include one whole argument. So the basics remain the same. Here also you have to step into the shoes of the arguer, enter the mind of the arguer, right? Think from the perspective of the arguer. Okay, you basically, what is an assumption? A statement that the arguer has supposed or taken for granted while making the argument, has not explicitly stated it. But it is necessary to arrive at the conclusion. It's like a hidden premise. If we negate the assumption, that is, if we state the opposite of an assumption, the argument collapses. The argument stops making sense. Yes? So whatever worked for a statement will work for an argument also. So let's have a look at this one. Kunal is asking, why not assumption 2? Kunal, because when we talk about assumptions, when we talk about assumptions, these are the beliefs of the arguer, beliefs of the speaker of the statement. So if the speaker already believes this, that people may not check, okay, that people do not check or people may not check, then he or she will not waste his or her time in giving this advice. He or she will explore some other alternative, right? Some other measure then. So this person is assuming that yes, people actually, just a second, that people will check the expiry date on the packet of the bread, right? This is what it should be, right? If I say that they will not check, may not, will not works similarly here. Only after checking the expiry date on it. On the basis of this advice, people will listen to this advice. People will check the expiry date. Yes. So this, I am correct here. This is not implicit. Okay. Because this person is assuming that people will listen to his or her advice. Okay. All right. Coming to question number 4. CMAT, when we come a little nearer to CMAT, you can check out previous year sessions. Harshita, there are a lot of CMAT sessions available on YouTube channel, right? Okay, have a look at this one, this argument. In that case, Pragya, what you are saying, I agree, I understand what you are saying. In that case, it should have been written that people currently do not check. People currently may not check. So yes, people, if they currently may not check, then yes, this is an assumption. This is an assumption, right? People currently may not check. Okay, people may not check looked like a conclusion to me rather than an assumption, right? So what we can do is we can tweak that and write people currently may not check, and then yes, that is implicit. Okay. Right, Sakshi, Pragya, now it is clear. When I say may not check, that looks like a prediction, that looks like a conclusion and not in the nature of an assumption. But yes, currently this could be a reality. This could be reality that people currently do not or may not check. That is why this advice has been offered. What I was looking at it as the result of the advice. I was looking at it in terms of future, will, right? So currently add karke, then it is implicit. Okay, D Delhi is what you say. Others, does everyone agree? So see, this is a very, when we come to an argument, assumption is like this missing link. Assumption is like this link, this invisible link that connects the premise to the conclusion. Yes. So we are saying Pakistan supported the Afghan Taliban for geopolitical reasons. Okay, then we explain this. The generals saw, see, these are Pakistani generals. The generals saw the Taliban as insurance against growing Indian influence in a US-backed Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. So they think that Taliban can check this influence, right? They think that Taliban can check this influence. So that is why they have supported. So I mean, again, it's very, very evident here that supporting, the generals thought that supporting the Afghan Taliban will check India's growing influence in Afghanistan. If they did not think this, they would not have supported the Afghan Taliban. Right? Again, I negated it also. I thought the opposite of it also. And it made sense to me that yes, if they did not think this, they would not support. Right? So D Delhi is the answer. It's like this link that, relates the premise to the conclusion. Others don't fit. Good, good, good. All right. So good learning there. When we add currently to it, the assumption is implicit. But otherwise, when I say people may not check, we are looking at it as a conclusion. The statement is in the nature of a conclusion rather than an assumption. कि advice के बाद क्या होगा, right? So that's how we perceive it. Now, course of action. The logical course of action. So this is a question type where a problem or a situation is given to you and you are asked what decision would you take? Okay, what should be done? What is the logical course of action? So always remember that a logical course of action will, of course, it may not completely solve the problem, but it will at least address the problem, right? It will relate to the problem. It will try to solve it. It is feasible, that is humanly possible. It is practical, that is you can implement it. Right? Then it's not extreme. It will never advocate for something that's an extreme measure. And it is ethical. So these are the things that you have to keep in mind while taking a decision, while deciding which is the logical course of action. Also never compare. Okay, don't compare various courses of action with each other. Treat them independently. Right? So let's have a look at this one. Question 5. Let's see. All right. Question 5. What do you say? C. Kunal says C. Only 2 and 3 follow. Amrit says C. Pragya C. All right. Sachin B. Only 2. Okay. Okay. All right. A. 1 and 2. But what will happen if we widely publish this in media, this forecast? Yes. So basically, see, we have to look at what we are trying to achieve by each course of action. So if I simply publish it widely in media, how will it help? That has not really been stated. How will it help? If I had mentioned that, let's say farmers do not have any other source of information and this only will make them aware of the fact that a drought is predicted, then this would have made sense. But right now, no reason behind it is mentioned as to why I should widely publish it in media. So this will not really serve anything as such. The drought relief team should be ready for relief work. Yes, it should be ready because the meteorological department here has forecast severe drought in the next cropping season. So it's immediate also, right? Which may cause failure of crops. This part is also important. So because it may cause failure of crops, farmers should be advised to sow drought resistant variety of crops, isn't it? Because we are predicting it, the drought is going to be severe, also it may cause failure of crops, so just advise them that you sow drought resistant variety of crops. That's a good measure. It addresses the problem. It's feasible also. Yes, so 2 and 3 both follow. C is the answer here, right? And not B. Hope this makes sense. All right. Now, in cause effect, what happens is 2 statements are given to you. You have to find out, is there a cause effect relationship between them or is there no such cause effect relationship? So just remember it, don't overanalyze these questions. If one statement can be a logically plausible, logically possible reason behind the other statement, that means it is a cause. Okay, don't think but और भी तो reasons हो सकते हैं. ठीक है, there can be multiple reasons behind something, but is this a logically possible reason? If yes, then yes, this is the cause. Right? Okay then. Let's have a look. So here, these are the options that are usually given to you. These are your statements. You have to find out, is A the cause, B the effect, is B the cause, A the effect. Then these options say, if they are independent causes. This is rarely the answer. Because if I just give you a statement, can you really tell me whether it is a cause or an effect? If you look individually at a statement, you can't tell me whether it is a cause or it is an effect. Because there can always be, see, if you call it a cause, there can always be some other cause behind it. If you call it an effect, it can further lead to something. So I can't judge this individually. That's why this is rarely the answer. And when there is no relationship, okay, out of compulsion, we are bound to mark this as the answer. That A and B are effects of independent causes. Okay, this can also be written as A and B are independent effects. A and B are independent effects. We can also write it like this. So, out of compulsion, when there is no relationship, we are bound to mark this. This is rarely the answer. Okay. So, let's see. Statement 1, statement 2. What do you say? Is there a relationship? A lot of you say B. Okay, second is the cause. Emitted from power plants. I think this seals the deal. Yes, they are emitted from power plants. Okay, industries and automobiles. So because we have also been given the source of these chemicals, it makes sense then to actually make the rules stringent for these industries, right? So they escalate the level of particulate matter. That means they cause pollution, and therefore the government has actually made it rigid for the industries, made the rules rigid for the industries. So 2 is the cause, 1 is the effect. Very logical here, right? We didn't have to think twice. So very easy this one was. Usually these questions are easy only, right? If there is a cause-effect relationship, it is pretty evident. Otherwise, D Delhi is the answer, right? Independent effects. Okay, now let's come to this part, strengthening or weakening the argument, right? We've talked about how to conclude something from an argument, how to identify the assumptions implicit in an argument. Now, how to strengthen or weaken an argument. Remember the structure? Premise plus assumption leads to the conclusion. So if I have to make this structure strong, what will I do? I'll give you more and more reasons that support the conclusion, right? Or this which was taken for granted, ki, listener apne aap samajh lega. Yes, this was taken for granted, right? This was not stated explicitly. I will state this explicitly. I'll unhide the hidden premises. That is the assumptions. I'll bring it here. I'll state it explicitly. State the assumption. Right? So, this is how you strengthen an argument. Why have I specifically written that you have to stick to the given argument? Because see, while you can add additional data here, right? This additional data has to support the conclusion. It has to be related to the argument. You can't bring data about something that does not even relate to the argument, right? So that is why I've written it specifically that you have to stick to the argument. Additional data allowed, has to be related data though. Okay. And in weakening, we do exactly the opposite. Okay. You add things here that attack this. Add things here that make it sound illogical. So you add premises that cast a doubt on the existing conclusion. Okay, on its validity, on its plausibility, as we call it. Then state the opposite of the assumptions. Whatever assumption is given, state the opposite of it. So if, for instance, in that statement, I say the generals do not think that supporting Taliban will actually decrease the influence of India, then does it make sense to support Taliban? It stops making sense completely. The conclusion just falls apart, right? And again, the same thing, you are allowed to bring additional data, but it has to relate to the existing discussion. हमारी existing discussion से बाहर नहीं जाना चाहिए, right? Okay. So let's have a look at one question here. It has both the elements, strengthen ka bhi, weaken ka bhi. Neutral. When is something called a neutral statement? See, either a statement can strengthen your argument or it can weaken your argument. But it's also possible that it does not affect the argument at all. It's neither strengthening it nor weakening it. In that case, it is called neutral. Right? So let's have a look at this question here and tell me what should be the answer. Let's see whether you listen to me carefully or not. Yeah. Let's see, let's see. Kunal says D. All right. Pragya says D. Lead code daily says D. Okay, so quite a few D's. 1 strengthens, 2 is neutral. All right. Okay. I want more responses for this one. This is critical reasoning. A. Okay, both strengthen. What else? That's it. Okay, just 5-6 responses. I don't know what the others are doing, but fine. Let's have a look at the question. Okay. So remember what I told you. See, this is a very tempting option actually. We do talk about India becoming an emerging superpower, and it's being tragic that despite its being an emerging superpower, still more than 1 in 3 children in India are stunted. Yes. So, if I just talked about higher economic growth here, no, and I didn't talk about increased spending on nutrition access program, then yes, this could have strengthened. But I haven't discussed this at all. Increased spending on nutrition access program. Suddenly, from where am I bringing this? I told you, no, that we can bring additional data, but it has to be related to the argument. So higher economic growth has not resulted in proportionate decrease in child malnutrition or stunting, would have supported this idea that see how tragic it is. Okay, we are achieving higher economic growth, still it is not happening. But spending on nutrition access program has not really been given anywhere. Yes, so that is why this becomes neutral. That is why this becomes neutral. Otherwise, it would have strengthened. And therefore, because one is neutral, there's only one possible answer choice, which is C. Second clearly strengthens. I don't know why a lot of you think that second is neutral. See, this is what is the conclusion? We are saying stunting can be itself classified as an illness as it leads to negatively affecting the present and future of the child. How? How does it negatively affect the present and future of the child? Because it is associated with all these things: underdeveloped brain, long lasting harmful consequences, and increased risks of nutrition related chronic diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity. So if you say that multiple researchers have actually proven this causal link between malnutrition in children and various diseases, you are strengthening this idea big time. Okay, you are supporting this idea big time that yes, it is associated with increased risks of nutrition related chronic diseases. This has been proven also. आपने इसको further strengthen कर दिया. Okay, so second one definitely strengthens, right? C is the answer here. I hope it makes sense now what I meant by sticking to the argument, right? Great. So C is the answer here. Now let's have a look at the last question type for the day: strong weak argument. This is not the same as strengthening and weakening the argument. Okay, that we've already done. This is another topic. So what kind of an argument will be a strong argument? Here we are evaluating the argument itself, right? Here we are not trying to support it or trying to take away from it. Here we are just saying that whatever is given to us, is it a strong argument? Is it a forceful argument? Sometimes it's also called a forceful argument or not. Okay, so what kind of an argument will be a forceful argument? Think about your daily life. Something that is logically it appeals to you. It also gives you some reason that is important enough for the problem under discussion, right? Whatever problem you are discussing, it has to be related to it in an important way, right? And it's not vague, it's not biased, so that is why you find it hard to refute. Okay, you're not able to refute it easily. So it's not biased, it's not vague, it's not opinionated, right? So these characteristics make for a strong argument. Okay, so here evaluation is involved. However, do not keep on arguing with the argument a lot. Okay, if something is easy to refute, you will realize it. Okay, if something is hard to refute, if it's not vague, it's logical, again you'll realize this. Don't keep on then over analyzing it. That's a big problem with these questions, right? So let's have a look at this. This is the statement that is given to you. Tell me what should be the answer. Okay, I've got two responses I've got. Others? All right, all right. So a lot of A's, good. Others? Do we agree? Okay. Good. I am happy that a lot of you have said A, because A is the answer. A lot of times students think that 2 is also strong, that yes, spreading of awareness is essential. But when you spread awareness, you would want to appeal to the relevant age group, right? The relevant audience. If you want to spread awareness regarding, let's say, a disease, you would want to appeal to an audience that has a chance of contracting that disease. You would not appeal to an audience that is already immune to that disease, let's say. So here, all kids is what I have a problem with, right? So kids who understand this concept, who have some inkling of this concept, for them, yes, it makes sense, but not all kids. That is why you're absolutely right in saying that the first one is strong, the second one is not. Good. So this was about some questions today. Okay, we have virtually seen all the question types that were asked in the verbal reasoning part of SNAP last year. I hope now you have a clear idea as to how to attempt them in the exam, and do practice more questions on these. SNAP previous year papers will help you there, right? And I hope you enjoyed the session. This is the All India Open Mock that is already live. It's open only till 6th, so do take it. Then this is our CAT 23 comprehensive program. In case any of your friends are interested, then you can always recommend this to them, right? A lot of mock tests, a lot of practice tests, so no dearth of material, something that students complain about usually. Yes. Then instead of along with your live sessions, we also have a lot of recorded lectures here and help for the stage 2 as well, right? So a lot of things on offer. And this is our test series. This will be increasingly relevant because non-CAT exams are just around the corner. A lot of them will happen right after CAT. So you can consider buying this. And it doesn't just have mock tests. It also has a lot of practice questions, topic tests, etc. Right, and this is our last lab today. I have a session with you at 7 p.m. Let's talk about odd sentence parajumbles today. Okay, one out of these two questions every year has been seen to be easy, right? So please do not leave these questions, and we'll discuss how to become better at them today at 7 p.m. Okay, and this is how we can stay connected. You can consider joining this Telegram channel, or you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Welcome, welcome all of you. Verbal in Snap is relatively easy. Correct, Kaushal. The general English portion is relatively easy. It's scoring also. All right then. Bye bye. Catch you at 7 p.m. today. Bye. Thank you for attending.